Welcome to part 6 of the multiple choice quiz program. In this tutorial what we're going to be doing is to add in the last frames that need to go onto the main question frame. Now I did say in the last video that we're going to program the begin quiz button, but I've forgotten that we actually need to have some extra frames and parts that are going to appear once the begin quiz button is clicked, so we need to make those. Now the first of these is going to be a frame, okay, and that frame is going to be called the score and question container, and what it's going to have is on the left hand side is the score, and on the right hand side is going to be a button which is going to be called next question most of the time. So let's go ahead and make that. So as you can see here, I've made that particular frame. It's going to be inside the main question frame, and some of the other options there should be self-explanatory. Now we are going to use the grid geometry method to place things inside the score and question container frame. So that's why this is grid propagate here. Once again, I don't want the things that we're placing inside this frame to change size in a sort of random way. Okay, so we'll leave that for now, and we then need to go on and create the score frame where the score or the score label will need to go. Now what you can see here once again is I have then made the score frame. So this is the frame in which the score text label that you can see underneath is going, and I have positioned the score frame inside row 0 column 0 of the score and question container. The sticky with the W plus E plus N plus south is a way of forcing that frame to fill up its row and column, so to take up the full size of that. The score text label here, okay, with some pretty obvious sort of things that have been added to the label. The only thing which is a little bit unusual perhaps is that we want the score to have next to it the actual running score. So this is the purpose of that variable we created at the beginning called self.score, currently 0, and since that is a number it needs to be converted to a string. So using this concatenation here to do that. Now if we run this at this stage, we're not going to see any of those things on the screen, and even if we click on begin quiz, the reason for that is that this score and question container frame has not yet been placed onto the main question frame, and we don't want that to happen until after the begin quiz button has been clicked. And when that begin quiz button is clicked, we want it to disappear, the instructions to disappear, and then this frame to appear down the bottom of the screen, of the frame, and these other things which have been placed inside it should then appear. Okay, so one more thing we need to do is we need to create the next question frame and the next question button. So as you can see, I've now created the next question frame. This is once again going inside the score and question container. It's going to be placed inside row 0 column 1 of that frame. Then the button itself is going to be placed inside the next question frame. Only one slightly different thing here. What is the state doing? This is making the button disabled so that if somebody clicks on it, nothing will happen. The reason for that is we don't want the person to go to the next question until they've answered the current question. So this will mean that they can't effectively move on to the next question. One other button I forgot to mention previously was the quit button. So this is going to go inside the score and question container, and yes, this has got quit on it. This needs to have some command binding added to it, and so in fact does this next question button, and then the next question button has then been placed inside the score and question container. Now, there's just one thing I've realised about the way that I've tried to place the next question button inside the score and question container, is I'm using the pack method here, and I'm surprised this doesn't actually generate an error. It's because we've set up here that we're going to be using grid to put things into the score and question container. So instead of packing that, we need to grid it, and we need to specify which row. So it's going to be underneath the score label frame and the next question button frame. So it's going to go in row 1, and I'm going to specify column 0. Now that will only take up half the amount of room, so we can specify a column span saying take up 2 columns. So now it starts in column 0, it'll go across column 0 and across column 1, and by putting in the sticky option here, this should force the button to expand to fill all the available space. Now the only way to make sure that this is working is in fact to make a method called start quiz, which we will do next.